So let's begin. Parthaya pratibodhitam bhagavata narayanena swayam vyasena grathitam puranamunina madhye mahabharatam Advaitaamritavarshiniim Bhagavatiim Ashtadashadhyayiniim Amba Tvam Anusandadhami Bhagavad Gita Bhagavad-dveshini. So friends, this is the last class available for us for the discussion on this 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and we have not covered even a third. So let us do some quick reading to get some idea of the entire chapter, and actually these are very important verses that we will now be reading from the verse 7th. That it was told that how the God is this whole universe. From one it has manifested as many without losing the oneness. That is important. It is not a transformation. It is not any kind of manufacturing process that this one was there and then was changed into many. It didn't change into many. It remains one and yet appears as many. And this is something that is we all being the manifestation of God. This is the characteristic of everything. Whether it is one or many is always a question of how you are looking at it. For example, the chair. As chair it is one, but if you look at the different parts, there is the seat, there is the back, there are the legs, so it becomes many. So it just depends on how you look at it. It is many or one, that's not the question. It is the one that is appearing as many because of the view that we are taking. So the comprehensive knowledge is that it is one in essence, that oneness never goes away. The multiplicity comes and goes. The different aspects, the names and the forms, and they come and go. The oneness remains. So this idea is now being shown. It was therefore also indicated in the earlier verses that our goal is to realize that one from which this appearance of many proceeds. This whole chapter is also very important to see the harmony between all these prominent schools of Vedanta, like the school of non-dualism, the school of qualified non-dualism, and the school of dualism. They are not contradictory to each other. They are harmoniously connected. It is, you can be a dualist, doesn't matter, but it is just a view of how you perceive that the connection between God and you. And so when you see the connection and you can take it as a whole, then that becomes one. So it is when things are connected, you have a choice whether to look at them as one whole, or things connected with each other, or the thing as the whole and the parts. So it is therefore not that one school is opposite of others or contradictory to others. It is a harmonious presentation of all these, and it is based on the various ingrained human tendencies, like the school of dualism. It is the school of dualism derives from our innate tendency, that is on which the science is based, the innate tendency of cause and effect, the cause and effect. So that is the dualism, God and its effects separate from that. So it is the cause and effect gives rise to the philosophy called dualism. So qualified non-dualism is trying to see the one in the midst of many, that unity in diversity. That is another ingrained human tendency that makes for the qualified non-dualism. And seeing the unchanging one and the evanescence of the variety, that makes for the school of non-dualism. Here the 7th verse that we shall be reading now, after reading the first verses where it is shown that one has to reach that goal, where from this whole universe comes, and that realization is dependent on our cutting, that asanga shastrena dridena chitva, this practicing of detachment. The detachment has to be practiced, and then tatapadam tat parimargitavyam. You first untie the knot with which you tie the boat to the anchor or to the dock, and then after untying, then you row. Otherwise that rowing will not take the boat forward. So this is, after this is told, now it says that see how the God is in everything as the essence of it. The essence is everything, in everything is God. The apparent differences and essence, like you have, for example, water in different containers. There is water in this glass, there may be water in different bottles, in jars, water in clouds, water in droplets. Now they are different receptacles, but the essence in all of them is water. So now God is telling that how I, the divine, is permeated in and through everything as the essence of that thing. Mamaivansho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatanaha manashashthani indriyani prakriti sthani karshati. This is how it shows that how the God is in everybody in its two ways. This has connection with what has been earlier described in 7th chapter as the two types of Prakriti, two types of manifestations of God. One is the lower manifestation, which manifests as all different types of gross and subtle matter. That is the in 7th chapter that verse comes that it is these 5 elements, and then man and buddhi and ahankar. These are bhinna prakritirashtadha. This is my eightfold prakriti, eightfold manifestation. And then in the next verse he qualifies that manifestation as the lower manifestation, that it is apareyam tvimamanyam viddhime prakritim param jiva bhutani mahabaho yayedam dharyate jagat. That in my higher manifestation, in my higher prakriti, what do? It is I get involved as a spark of consciousness in everything, which makes this matter alive, as it were. Everything pulsates with life, and it gives that thing as thatness. So because of that, a very curious, funny, inexplicable phenomena occurs, that in spite of the changes in that, we identify it as that. That I would say, last year when I came to Pittsburgh, I sat on the same chair. Now, how do I know the same chair? Well, everything undergoes change. Some changes have certainly occurred. Some particles from this chair have frittered in the atmosphere, gone away. Some additional particles might have come. Some cockroaches, you were telling me about cockroaches here. That there are cockroaches. Susmita was telling, everywhere there are cockroaches now here. So some cockroaches might have been here. And yet what is the same in that thing? You cannot show anything as identical, and yet we refer the same thing. That I take a dip in the same river near my home. There is the stream of Ganges flowing, and I take a dip in the same river. Now what is the same river? The water goes away. Everything changes, and yet what is identified as same? I met you last year. What is same there? The person has, as matter, everything changes, So much of food has gone in the whole year and come out and so forth. And yet what is same? Somehow there is something that remains unchanging, that conscious entity. It is not definable. It cannot be described as that. So therefore, God says this is a higher nature. It is beyond your description. Apareyastu, that earlier, that's 5 and plus 3, those 8 were lower nature of myself. Now this is the higher nature. Jiva bhutani mahabaho yayedam dharyate jagat. I become the jiva, the entityship, the conscious principle in everything. The conscious principle and the material principle, both are part and parcel of everything. There is nothing that is devoid of consciousness. Everything is conscious. So one may say, well, is this wall or this window, are they conscious? Yes, they are conscious. Everything is permeated with that conscious principle. So, yayedam dharyate jagat. So, this is how now it is referring to that one part of me, mamaivangsho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatanaha. I became now the Jiva, a separate entity as it were. That entity, Jiva, what is that entity? The consciousness getting identified with a piece of matter, gross or subtle, or gross and subtle. The consciousness is all pervading. But then you see a limited piece of that consciousness as it were connected with some matter. That I here, the consciousness here, my being, I the enjoyer. It is I enjoy, that person enjoys, but our enjoyments are different. My eating food, I enjoy it. That person's eating food, that person enjoys. That person's eating Rasgulla doesn't bring the enjoyment to the Jiva here, it can bring enjoyment to the Jiva there. So this is the difference, you see, very important matter to see, that this separation, where is this separation has to be understood. The consciousness as it were caught in matter, getting identified with matter. So we say I am, say, 5 feet so many inches tall. It is not, you are not tall or short, it is the body that is being described. This heap of bones, blood and all tied together, that is body, that is 5 feet tall. You cannot measure the consciousness in feet and inches. It is the body that you are measuring. And what is that body? It is just matter, and some software is loaded on it, because of which it makes movements, that's all. It is a robot. So it is, and one identifies with that, and thus that becomes a Jiva. It is a funny illusion that we harbor to maintain one's own separateness. I am this and this. You can never really specify it, because what you are specifying is the qualities, the various attributes of matter and not of consciousness. I get upset very quickly. Now, is it the characteristic of your as conscious entity? It is the characteristic of mind. Your mind is, it is on a short fuse, that's all. It is not that, it is not your quality as such. You are not that, it is your mind is like that. It is, I am blind. It is the body that you are talking about, not I. So, this is a funny knot in our, in Vedanta philosophy it is called Chid Jada Granthi. And the consciousness and matter, Granthi, is knotted together, it is a knot. The two have been tied into a very intricate knot. So, it is how this is formed. Mamai Vamsho Jiva Loki. My part is in this universe, Jiva Loke. Now it has become Jiva Bhutaha. I have become so many different entities, apparently, without deviating from my true nature. Now I am appearing in all these different entities, Jiva. And now this, what does this conscious entity does, it attracts the pieces of subtle and gross matter to form different bodies. It is that which creates the matter and becomes an entity. So the consciousness in Vedanta's understanding is primary. It is the only thing that is not created. Everything else is manipulated by consciousness. So thus what you have is now Jiva, the matter collected through this awareness. How it gets collected, the psychology of it is very interesting. That the separation, we saw it yesterday, that the separation being unreal, it creates the desires. It is an error, and so therefore everybody has a different way of achieving that unity. That perception of one is same. The perception of separateness is different for everybody. In oneness there is no distinctions, but in separateness, as we were discussing yesterday, each thing is different from another one. So therefore each entity has a very peculiar characteristic way of functioning. Therefore it is told, I see it always in the doctor's office when I sit, and so many ads, keep on going on the TV there. It is non-stop, you cannot stop that. It keeps on going. And probably that is the reason that the doctors make you sit there for a longer time. I suspect that so that you see more of those. So, and after telling all that this will do good to you, this is very important, this is very nice to you, this will help you reduce all these bad things and increase all these good things and so forth, then there comes a line that everybody is different. So that is a kind of caveat, that if something goes wrong, don't blame us, we had put this caveat there. That it is, because everybody is actually different. So that is how the differentiation is there, and therefore the mistake, is difficult to repeat. That is how they catch the cheating in exams. Because the correct answer will be the same, but the mistakes that people they will be making will not be same. So if they see, hey, the same answer is being repeated, okay. But that fellow made the mistake, and the one who was sitting right behind also made the same error, which is unlikely. It is unlikely that because there are hundreds of ways in which a mistake can be made. So it is therefore, when you see the same mistake, it is unlikely. Statistically, it is unlikely that you will make the same exact mistakes. It is our lawyer had told that long back when we had a case I used to be in Nagpur, and we had a publication department. So it was discovered that our books were stolen by some phony publisher somewhere in Meerut, and was selling those books. So now how to sue that person? Then that yes, you have stolen our translations of Swami Vivekananda's books. So the lawyer said that, well, you when the books were translated, you must have made some deviation from the original. Some error must have happened. So find out the errors that you committed in translation, and if you see the same errors that are in that book, then you have a very strong case. And yes, that is how we won the case, you see. It is. Because that is a clinching evidence, you see. So, because everybody has a different way of, this making mistake. Errors are different. So therefore, each of us will go to, express that our desires, our way to achieve oneness differently. So, like for me to be happy is to eat sechili, but for most of us here that is not the way to become happy. Oh, keep away, no, that is not. So it is, what I mean is there is this immense variety. Mamai vansho jiva loke jiva bhutah sanatana. That is sanatana. Jiva is non-perishable and unchanging. Jiva. It doesn't go away, it does not perish. The bodies go away. Jiva continues. That is, its continuity is really unexplainable. What brings this perception of continuity? That the one that was, say, 2 years old becomes 100 years old, and then can say that this is my photograph when I was 2 years old, Now what is same there? Every feature has become different, but yet that continuity remains. That yes, that I had borrowed $100 10 days ago. Now I have to repay it. Now who has borrowed, who has to repay, the matter has undergone all change, it is who is continuing. So that continuation is, where to pinpoint that continuity is a mystery. What continues? So, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana, that unchanging principle, divine, that is the source of continuity. In the midst of change, it continues. In the 13th chapter it was described, Avibhaktam cha bhuteshu, vibhakta ivacha sthitam. I am not really cut into pieces, avibhaktam. I am continuous, not at all separate. And yet vibhaktam ivacha sthitam, as if divided. I am seen as if divided without getting into any division. So this is a big mystery, that, and then that undivided, when is divided, seen as divided. Now according to that division, to fulfill its purpose, it collects the requisite material, the instruments and the matter. The 3 types of causes are described, that it is efficient cause, material cause and instrumental cause. The 3 things. That it is like a carpenter made, say, a table. Now it has 3 ingredients there, that the material wood, that is the material cause. Carpenter, the worker who worked on it, is the efficient cause. And then the carpenter did not just work with, they used some instruments, there were saws and chisel and whatever, so many different implements were used for that, instrumental. So, according to the need, that is that jiva aspect, that there is a craving in the jiva. And and that craving is because that separation is not liked. So that craving is trying to become one. So that is why our pleasures also are like becoming one. It is what Arya, when you eat cookie, if you are here and cookie is here, no pleasure. When you and cookie become one. The separate cookie doesn't exist. Then you become happy. I got the cookie. So it is the pleasure is in oneness, like that. You strive to be to become one, to get all that, and it is individually separate craving. The form of craving is separate. So according to that form, you collect the instruments and the material. So if you have to say do some masonry work, you have a need not for a table but for a wall, and then you need a masonry work there, so you get bricks, not wood, but you order bricks, you order the implements necessary for that, to do that wall building work, masonry work. So it is the instruments become different, material become different according to what is the craving in you. So according to the craving, you collect the material. If Ulka has, say, the craving that I want to do this particular preparation, I want to make, say, dosa, then she will get all the needs for that dosa. She will get that rice and the urad dal and whatever, I don't know all the materials, but yeah. Called prasanna, okay. And then all the whatever you need, a grill for it, fire, grill, everything, you will collect all those things. But basically, who needed dosa? In you there was the need for dosa. So therefore all these things were collected. So you collected it according to your craving. So this jiva, prakriti sthani karshati, from the lower prakriti, from the this gross and subtle matter, collects all the this material and form the body. The subtle material becomes the software, the gross material becomes the hardware. So thus you have the body, the mind and the soul. So this is the jiva. That is how the psychology of it is, that we have all these three things in us. The two, the body and the mind, in our language therefore get the word my body. That my hand is aching. Not that I hand is aching, my hand is aching. My mind is sad. It is my, not I. I am different from that. These are things that need to be corrected. and thus it will be fine. So this has been in details described in the 13th chapter also. I am not going to that, but this idea here is very prominent, that so remember, each of us have that divine element. That is the message that is being emphasized here, that Mamai Vangsho Jiva Loke, the essential divinity is in every being, is to be stressed, is to be felt, and that is to be manifested in and through this so-called covering of matter. So, and this is responsible for everything. All the see the behavior patterns, neurology, how that is all gets really explained by this, that it is according to the cravings. You collect the software and you collect the hardware, and that is how we do, according to the work that we do. Like one of our members were saying, that you did not need such a powerful system for the kind of little small work that you do. Much lower configuration and all would have done. You don't need to spend so much money for that. It is because depending on what our need is, and you collect all that. So it is, and then that divine element is the primary thing, and it has collected the material. Somehow or other, this mainstream psychologists don't get this. They go in the reverse direction, that body, hammer the body and then the behavior will be all right. So it is not that simple, you say. It is, there is a deeper layer of our being, and further the deeper connection, they connect that with the soul. So this is a very different understanding that has to be infused in the matter of therapeutic psychology, that yes, there is the soul. That soul has collected the information and the corresponding hardware to load that information. That is the brain, the body, and the information as to how to get the desired result from it. So this is how this system is. So the primary aspect here is that conscious entity. So if we are not taking that into account, we are not likely to go towards a proper mental and physical health. It is only based on this configuration, that it is the soul, and according to that nature of this individual soul, jiva, the information, that is the subtle matter, and according to that then the gross matter has been collected. So that is now the functional entity. So the next verse says that Shariram, the same thing more, explained more. Shariram yadavapnoti yachapyutkramati shvaraha grihitvaitani sanyati vayurgandhani vashayat. Please read the translation.
When the Lord obtains a body and when he leaves it, He takes these and goes, as the wind takes the scents from their seeds, which are the flowers.
What a beautiful description here. That is why the gross body and the subtle body and the jiva, the entity, when the gross body becomes, it has much less age. Its lifespan is comparatively very short. So it gets deteriorated quickly, not usable anymore, not functionally suitable, needs lot of maintenance. So therefore it is given up. Like a very old car that is not reliable at all, needs lot of maintenance, keep on pumping money into it, and yet it is difficult to keep it in good condition. Then what do you do, Prasanna?
Have to sell it.
If somebody buys it, it is, that man's car, was going, puffing, stopping. Again he would do something, came somehow to the toll gate. And then the man at the toll gate, the clerk said, $5. He got out of the car and said, sold. So, it is like that, that kind of car. Now, it is doing no good to you to keep it, so already it has been decided, I have to get another one. So now transfers all the information, the soul carries the subtle body and puts it into another gross body. Exactly as you change your phone, most of these phones in about 4 or 5 years, the problems, that it doesn't hold the battery too long and doesn't work fast, becomes too slow, and then the other more efficient, useful models are available, and there is no dearth of advertisers to sell it. So it is. So you think that I have to now get rid of this old junk phone. Already my friends have been teasing me. Hey, throw that junk away. It is, get a good phone. It is so. It is, you then get a good phone. But what do? Do you throw away all your contacts? You throw away all the nice pictures and information and all that you had on your phone? You take it and put it on the new machine, that's all, new phone. So take from this and deteriorating, useless body, just has now no more utility left to it. So you take all that, put it in the new body. That is what this soul does. That it does not throw the information. Not the files are not thrown. All those microprocessed files are taken. Now connection with this particular hardware is cut, broken. That is called death. Dying means that, now you have finally given up the connection with the old phone. There is no SIM card in it anymore or whatever you say. No service is there. So it is that it is now. You have now transferred it to another machine. So all this is transferred on another machine. And it is first the new machine is taken before you discard the old one. Otherwise you will be without a phone, so that is much worse than death these days. It is, somebody was threatened like that. Oh, that thief, that robber may kill you. Not only that, will take your phone also. As if losing the phone is more important. So it's like that. So therefore, you what you do? Okay, first let me have the new one, and then transfer everything on the new one. And this old one is said, now you can go to retirement. So it is what is taken, all the essentials. So the example given is very beautiful, that shariram yad avapnoti, how the body is taken and how it is given up. That Ishvara, the governing conscious principle, that is called Ishvara here. Yaccha avapnoti, yaccha utkramati, and grihitva etani sanyati vayur gandha nivashayat, like from say gandha, suppose you have an incense stick burning, now it is burning there, and the fragrance of that incense stick is carried by the air, by the breeze all over. So similarly, from this particular body, all that essential thing, the essence, is taken and to another place. This is how the description here tells. Because they are different and yet connected things. It is a very important that understanding that needs to be developed about it. That how, and it is a very subtle understanding, that how the body, the brain, the mind and soul, they are all connected. When you know how the connections function, and then we will have a better view, better perception, a clearer understanding of the system that we call as I. And there you will see the meaning and the purpose of meditation better. So now it describes all the instruments through which this body functions, and this is all the description of what is called the subtle body. Shrotram chakshus parshanam cha rasanam ghranam cha adhishthaya manaschayam vishayanupasevate. Please read the translation.
Presiding over the ear, the eye, the touch, the taste and the smell, as also the mind, he experiences objects.
Yeah, sense objects or objects, yeah. That is the objects. That our world experiences all these. That is our world. It has something that can be seen, that can be touched, that can be smelled, and that can be tasted, so, and heard. So these are the five senses through which we have those, as in our computer analogy you can say that these are the input devices that we have, through which the information is fed into the system. Information gets fed into the system through these input devices. Like our regular computer has keyboard and a camera port, then a microphone. All these are the input devices. So through these input devices, and remember, these devices are not the external matter as such. These are the programs, the software, and that is really doing the job. That it is The microphone is the program which converts the sound input into a proper this data that makes you see, that makes you get the sense of sound. It is otherwise some kind of an external vibration. This topic is discussed in great details in Patanjali's Yoga aphorisms, that it is separated there by the words that Shabda, Artha and Jnana. That Shabda is the external vibration. That it is there, whatever happens in what you call external. In the core Vedanta, it is not external, it is still the self that is appearing as all. So, but in this divide you see it as outside. So it is happening, a bell, doom. Now it is a vibration, and those waves of so many types of waves which are generated by that impact. Now some part of it affects the ear, that eardrum, hit it. Now it gets converted into an electric signal there that gets carried through the nerves. And then there you get a sensation. So what has happened outside is called Shabda, that striking of the bell. Then the signal that travels from through the nerves from your eardrum and to the brain. That is called Artha. And then the sense that you make out of it, that is called Jnana. And the three things are separate, and the controlling can be done at each level. That if you don't want noise, the simplest thing is, hey, take out those bell and all those noisy things around. I want peace, and no such things should be around me. And that is a simple way to do it, but it is not in your hands. But the next level is very much in your hands, and that is, do not let it be carried to your brain. You can. There is a switch there actually, which we unconsciously it gets applied, but we have to learn the conscious use of it, and that is where a great role is there for psychologists. That it is how to use that switch mechanism. That, well, do not let it go into you while you are taking it inside. That sound that happened out there, let it be out. Who told you to carry it in? It is, you don't carry everything that you see. You go to the mall, you don't buy the whole mall. What do you see what you need, and then get that much. So whatever sounds are there, only take that in which is needed by you. Why you want to carry everything? Vitru knows how to do that. Mom keeps on telling him so many things. He listens only what is needed. So it is. So you have to learn to put the switch on and off. One of my friends, he has to use a hearing aid. Got deaf so many years back because of some problem. So he said that has given a great advantage to me. And now when my wife starts talking, I just switch it off. So it is. So this is called, earth. Switch it off. There is a switch. That therefore, when I am talking, many of you are not hearing anything, although the impact is there, outside impact. Certainly the waves are striking the eardrums. But then it is not getting heard because that somehow the switch is turned off.
Sleeping is because I'm sleeping.
Yeah, exactly. That is how the switch, whatever, but the switch is off, that it is. So it is not getting in. And then the third, there also you can control it, that it gets in. But then now you have the means to interpret it so that your peace of mind is retained. That, that fellow said such a nasty thing to me. Now control it there also. Let's think that because interpretation is the third, that knowledge. Why think of it as nasty? By your thinking that fellow said something nasty to you, who is going to get troubled?
You. We.
Exactly. That it is why you so you can
simple, right?
it is if you pay proper attention to it, it is simple or not simple, but that is the only available course. That is for sure. That it is. Can you shut the mouths of people and nobody should say like that? No, that's not possible. So you have only these two courses available. It is, you can't shut the mouths of so many people. It is, if you tell them shut up, that will not happen. So therefore this is a very important verse, that it is that all these different instruments, they operate with the mind being the presiding deity. It mixes and matches all these different things. There is the mixing and matching when they have for example, a printing press. So they colored, that design is there given to them. Now it is earlier it used to be done manually. Now it is the computer does it. How much the blue color is to be let out, how much red is to be let out, and so forth. So you get the exact print. So it is governing principle is there. So that mind is that governing principle. So this is how this system is. And so it is again the purpose of explaining is to show the supremacy of the conscious entity, that consciousness, that is governing all this. The God, that element of God is governing everything in this. So all that we see as material is really governed in this process through the subtle body, and then the effect is on the gross body. That is how the governing process is. Very beautifully explained. In fact, these short verses are of great value in understanding, and not something that gets called religion, spirituality, but understanding as to how we are and how we function, our own functioning. That is being explained, not some ethereal matter that it is, but something that we are dealing with every day, our own personality. That there is that book, Man, The Phenomena of Man, by it's a very beautiful book by that he was a priest and that Church of England priest, and what is his name? Do you remember? That Ranganathananji quotes from that very often, Phenomena of Man. So he was a biologist.
Huxley.
No, not Huxley. No, it is, and he was also a priest. So that book is very popular, Phenomena of Man. So one quote attributed to him, but it's not found in any of his books, that it says, and somebody says no, it doesn't belong. He was probably just quoting from something of a previous philosopher like Voltaire, that it is not that we are human and we are having a divine experience, but we are divine and are having a human experience. Yeah, it is, we are divine and are going through a human experience, because divine is not manufactured, it is not changing. The experience, like a cat, is an expression of the divine. So a divine is going through cat experience, a cockroach experience, or a human experience. So it is, the divine is the constant factor in that.
Say, Chardin?
Chardin, yeah. And I heard the Chardin, thank you. Oh, probably Google. Yeah. I thought how this man suddenly remembered. Okay. Yeah, I realized, yeah. Yes, yeah. Probably God also consults Google before. So it is, yes, I heard the Chardin, yeah. It is, there is a Google Stotram. Has anybody read the Google Stotram? Very nice, it begins that Om Shri Googleshwaraya Namaha. And then discuss that if you want this, if you want that Googlam Sharanam Vraja, if you want to know which eatery offers what food, Googlam Sharanam Vraja. It is, and then the last stanza is very interesting. If you want peace of mind, other things are sure. If you want a plane ticket, if you want a movie ticket, and want to know this and that, where are the doctors and so forth, Googlam Sharanam Vraja. But if you wish peace, and satisfaction in life, Taja Googlam Harim Sharanam Vraja. Then give up Google and take refuge in Hari. It's a very nice hymn by one Kolatkar. So it was forwarded to me long back by our Yogatmananda Swami.
Yeah.
So it is, yeah. So now one question comes that it is, you say that it is that being is from one phone, it is changed to, all the information is carried to another phone, from one body it is carried to another body. This is that, how do we know that it is the same thing that gets carried on? It is, what is this idea of reincarnation? It is, how do you know that it is that same being? There is, how do we know it is the same being yesterday and today? We really have no way of knowing except remembering. But Swami Vivekananda gives a very good answer to it early, that it is, he says that our existence doesn't depend on memory. Memory depends on our existence, but our existence does not depend on memory. It is so, just because we do not remember of our past incarnation, that does not mean that the past incarnation doesn't exist. Teresa doesn't remember what she did when she was 6 months old. Do we conclude thereby that you were never 6 months old? because you don't remember. It does not, existence does not remember, that depend on your remembrance of it. So remembering is a function. It is described here that it is a function, memory is a function. So it is utkramantam sthitam vapi bhunjanam va gunanvitam vimudhananupashyante pashyante jnana chakshusha. Read the translation.
While transmigrating from one body to another, or residing in the same, or experiencing, or when united with the gunas, the deluded do not see him, but those who have the eye of wisdom behold him.
Yeah. It is, how do we see it? I don't see that this information is getting transformed from one body to another. How to believe that? And Lord gives a very important hint there, that forget getting transferred from this body to do it, that body. Even in this body, sthitam vapi, do you know where it is? You cannot see it even here. Where is the I? That locus of I, where is that I? I am. There is absolutely no doubt in anybody's minds here. It is what? Olini, your name is Olini. Olina, not Olini. Olina. See, her very saying that I am, I am Olina. So I am, that there is no doubt about. But are you in the nose or in the ear? It is while that distributing medications in our mobile dispensary, I had to read the name on the prescription, and then that person would come and collect the medicine from me. So I read some name, Rekha, and then a little girl like this, Olina came, younger than what say 5 years ago Olina was, so like that. So she came, Rekha, I am Rekha, she said. So you are Rekha. Then I pointed to her ears. Is this Rekha, or is this Rekha, or is this Rekha, or is this Rekha, or this is Rekha? Who is Rekha? And she, naturally, little girl got confused, but even the grown-ups will get confused. What is exactly of this? What is I? Where it is? Nobody can tell. Sthitam vapi. While we are sure I am, where I am in this body is impossible to tell. It is. So therefore, what is the wonder that you don't see it being transferred? Even while here, you see, you know, but you can't see. Why? You do not have the instrument of seeing. Vimudhananupashyanti. The deluded don't see it. Here the word deluded means those who lack the proper instrument of seeing. In the morning I was telling about the yogurt, whether the yogurt has little worms or not, Vittal? It has, but with your eyes you don't see them. You have to use a microscope and then you see them, they are there. But still it is good to eat that. So it is, So then you see the worms in it. So those worms, do they come only when you put microscope to your eyes? They are there, but you didn't have the instrument to see it. So when you develop that instrument through a special training, that meditation, it is a proper programming that needs to be developed, Then you see, like those who are in the field of medical sciences, they treat patients. So their eyes are trained to, by looking at the face, to see where the problem is. Others will be looking at it, will not get the message from the appearance. But then that person sees, the doctor sees the eyes. What is there in my eye? It is. But they will know what is in the eye. They will say, oh, open the eye, mouth, and then put a flashlight in it, see what is there. Now, if I put a flashlight and see, nothing special will be seen, it will not be. But then a proper training makes you see those things. The others will not see it. So, it is vimudha nanu pashyanti, pashyanti jnana chakshusha. Those who have trained eye, they will be able to see. And how do you get this training? That is described, that it is yatanto yoginaschainam pashyantyatmanyavasthitam yatantopi akritatmano nainam pashyanti chetasah. Read the translation.
The yogis striving for perfection behold him dwelling in themselves, but the unrefined and unintelligent, even though striving, do not see him.
That is a very important statement, that the yogis striving for perfection behold that dwelling in oneself. They can see it by using this instrument of meditation. That is the yogi, those who strive for that perfection, and that is yogi. The one who wants to get connected to that divine nature, wants to manifest that in life, that is yogi. And then as in the process of yoga, they develop this vision of seeing that conscious entity. Yatanto yoginaschainam pashyanti atmani avasthitam. That indwelling reality is perceived when you get that state of a yogi. And thus through meditative awareness you start perceiving it as a very tangible entity. A very tangible entity. It is, it is there. It is, therefore, who can see? That yogi can see, but then a statement comes. Remember, this practice of yoga requires what? Yatantopi akritatmano nainam pashyanti achetasah. The one who has not controlled one's physical propensities, that person will not be able to see it, even if tries to do that, even if puts in lot of efforts. But if there is no control in one's life, one cannot see that. So the practice of yoga is twofold, as we have discussed it earlier. One is to control and other is to concentrate. Concentrate on the goal and control. Let the energies be not frittered away towards all those sensual pleasures. So this is, now it is shown that all the processes that happen in one's body, all of them is really carried on under the, what one could say, under the governance of this conscious entity under the governance of God. So, yadadyagatam tejo jagad bhasayate khilam yat chandramasi yachagnahu tat tejo viddhimamakam. Come on, read.
The light which residing in the sun illumines the whole world, that which is in the moon and in the fire, know that light to be mine.
Yeah. So all that luminous bodies, all that is, it is shown here only about light, but what it actually is much more than that. That whatever is the special quality of anything, that special quality is my manifestation. So it is like the wetness. This is, since it has been told previously, it is not repeated here, just hinted, that the wetness of water, I am the wetness of water. So I am the fragrance of a fragrant flower, I am all that. So it is the defining characteristic of anything, I am that. So that shining of the sun, and that is mine. I shine using the sun as the globe. It is like the electricity going through this tube. It takes the form of a cylinder. In that other round thing, it takes the round shape. So that divine principle, it takes a luminous shape in sun, in moon, and other bodies, the luminous bodies. All of them are really through me. Gama vishyacha bhutani dharayami aham aushadhi ojasa pushnami chaushadhi sarva somo bhutva rasatmakah.
Entering the earth with my energy, I support all beings.
Yeah.
And I nourish all the herbs, becoming the watery moon.
Yeah. So all this is happening. It is the manifestation, the power of the God, and that is upholding all this. Each and everything, as Sri Ramakrishna used to say very beautifully, even a leaf of a tree does not move without the will of God. It is still there, it hears everything. Sri Ramakrishna's analogies are so funny. He says that God can hear everything, even the anklets on the feet of an ant, that gets heard by God. Now that ant, tiny, how tiny is the foot of that ant, and imagine the anklet on that foot, and the sound of that anklet, that God can hear even that. It is. So everything is seen by God, and that is how we purify. Before puja we recite a purification mantra. Om tadvishno paramam padam sada pashyanti surayah diviva chakshuratatam. Om apavitra pavitro va sarvavastham gatopi va yasmaret pundarikaksham sabhayabhyantarah shuchihi. That it is that Lord is seeing everything. Diviva chakshuratatam. The eye of the God is spread all over the space, everywhere, so can see everything. So when you remember this God, then you become pure, because now you don't dare to do something wrong. You are being watched, not by some ordinary police, but by God. So you will automatically behave. You see, it is even Arya will be behaving when he knows that my dad is watching me. So it is, then he immediately behaves. And do you also behave then? Yeah, when you know that somebody is watching you. If you don't behave now, you will be given some time out or something. Do you ever get time out? What is it? Sometimes. So good. He is an honest guy, you know. Sometimes, yeah. So do you like that?
Wait, which one?
Time out?
No.
No? Yeah. No. But then if you don't behave, then you get it, you know. So it is, therefore when somebody is watching you, then you behave. So that makes a person, you know, very pure. So God is everywhere in every aspect of life. It digests all the food that we eat, you know. So that is the next verse, that I become the metabolic functions. They all go with my controlling and presiding over them. That in fact I become that. I become the metabolic power. Aham Vaishvanuro Bhutva Praninam Deham Ashritah Pranapana Samayuktah Pachamyannam Chaturvidham. At many places, like we chant Brahmarpanam Brahmavi, and many chant this particular verse before taking food. That's for the purpose of digestion, you know. Aham Vaishvanuro Bhutva. I am the one because of which you have the appetite to take in the food and the digestion of it and all that, all the process happens because of me. Then my presence is everywhere. That it is sarvasya chaham hridhi sannivishto mattasmritir jnanam apohanam cha vedaischa sarvairahameva vedyo vedanta krit veda videva chaham. Please recite the meaning.
I am centered in the hearts of all. Memory and perception, as well as their loss, come from me. I am verily that which has to be known by all the Vedas. I indeed am the author of the Vedanta, and the knower of the Veda am I.
See how pervasive is this principle. How we remember things, and of course apohanam, that loss of memory, that also sometimes we forget. We remember and we don't remember, or something gets mixed, you know, that we remember one thing connected with something else that is unconnected. So remember something happening, that is correct, but at a wrong place or at a different times, you know. It is so. This is for some time. There is some nice psychology experiments are there to show there is fake memory, that nothing that didn't happen at all. Not that you remember only that which happened, that is understandable, but then you tend to remember that which didn't happen at all. Funny something. All this is this God says that because of me all this happens, that I am involved in all these things, that I am in the hearts of everyone as the conscious entity, and through me is this sense of memory, smriti and apohanam, the removal of the memory It is an important function, removal of the memory. It is in our computers, it is installed, so that whatever we don't want, it gets shifted into the deleted folder or something separate, so that it doesn't now interfere with what our work is. So that thing is there, that it is actually it is not removed as such. Even in the computer it is actually not removed. It is processed in a different way so that now you do not find it easy. It is actually traceable. If you apply certain processes, then that which has been deleted can be brought out too. But exactly like that you forget, so that your day-to-day life is not hampered by so many memories clogging and just stifling your functions. And that is why this is a deliberately made arrangement, that the memories of your past life will not come in this life. Even this life's memories are, too much for the brain to handle. Imagine last 70 births or 100 births, the memories start coming here. It would be terrible riot there. So, it is therefore this screening out. Who does that? Who makes certain things remember, certain other things not remembered? The God says, all that is handled by me. Remember, in a particular form, I handle those things. So, it is, and I am the one that is therefore to be known. That has been told earlier also, that this is the knowledge of the real knowledge that one should strive for, the knowledge of the unchanging reality. So, and I am the maker of the Vedas and Vedanta, that Vedanta, the Vedanta, the essence and the culminating principle in Vedas, that is called Vedanta. So that is also springing up from me. And now comes these last 4 verses are very intricate verses, but very illuminating. And one can, now we don't have much time, but in fact we have overstepped by 1 minute. But if you permit, we can read it in another 15 minutes. Is it okay to add 15 minutes? Okay. So, Dvavimau purushau loke ksharascha ksharaivacha ksharas sarvani bhutani kutastho kshara uchyate. Read.
There are 2 Purushas in the world, the perishable and the imperishable. All beings are the perishable, and the Kutastha is called the imperishable.
We have discussed this in part, that Kshara, the changing and the unchanging. In each of us we have these 2. Something that changes and something that does not change, because of which we get the feeling of continuity and the sameness. Well, I am the same person, and I feel that the one who had given lectures here last year, it is the same person, and the same Kunalda was listening at that time too. Now where is that sameness comes? That is one principle in us that does not change. The matter keeps on shifting, changing places. So much of new material has been added to the body, so much of the old material has been discarded. So still that feeling of the sameness is there, that is Akshara. And the body changes, that it is as the time flows, you see the hair start becoming more and more grey. It is because I tell people when they say that you have become all grey, say because now the grey matter in the head is so much now. So therefore it is expressing out, don't you see that? It is. So it is so it is a changing aspect. But people say you have grayed a lot. That means there is this continuity there, that unchanging aspect and the changing aspect. That changing, that person was earlier, we saw him 20 years ago, was so active, now has slowed down. Now the same person, but the physical characteristics have changed. So the change is there, and the unchanging principle, kshara, akshara, both are there. Akshara sarvani bhutani, kutastha akshara uchyate. But now comes the climax here, that uttama purushastvanyah paramatmeti udaratah yo lokatrayamavishya vibharti avyaya ishwarah. That, read please.
But there is another, the Supreme Purusha, called the highest self, the immutable Lord, who, pervading the three worlds, sustains them.
Both these kshara and akshara, they are manifestations of this Supreme One Being. That is called the Uttama Purusha, and that is what this chapter is about. Purushottama Yoga, the highest, the Supreme Being, of which these are manifestations. And that is the goal, that Supreme One. So, where do you find it? Where do you need to go? Right here, analyze this, and you will find this play changing and unchanging.
Why is that Akshara is there and also there is Uttama Purusha? Why can't it be only one there?
It is, this is how the description here is, that the two beings are given, it is specific. In Upanishads you have certain descriptions, and in Bhagavad Gita also, where only two are described. Here it is made three for further clarity. In this, the one that is lower being has also the aspect of the unchanging aspect of the higher being, and that is to be discovered, that is to be found out. So therefore it says that in this your own person, try to see that by seeing that there is something changing and something that does not change, something that is you cannot even isolate and take it out, and that is I. And then from that you will be able to see this Supreme Being, the Uttama Purusha. This is from the practical standpoint, this is an easier way to approach. So a little further this clarification, a few more steps have been added, and so that we can get a feel of that unchanging being better right here, that it is the kshara and akshara. That kshara, sarvani bhutani, all these are sarvani bhutani, they are changing, they are kshara. And in that there is that unchanging being, that you see, yes, I am, I used to be, then comes the description of Dikshara. But that continuity is the higher Prakriti, and holding on to that, now you see the God, the Supreme Purusha, because this unchanging aspect, that being connected with the changing one, is different in different bodies. So that is what is called Jiva. So it is unchanging in a limited sense. It is Akshara in the limited sense, that it is still it is divided. It has limitations of time and space. That space in the sense that unchanging here is different from that unchanging here. The Uttama Purusha is identical everywhere. It includes the Kshara, so-called Kshara, so-called Akshara, and therefore it is called Uttama here. In the examples like in Kathopanishad, you see that Ritam Pibantau Sukritasya Loke, or in the Shvetashvatar Upanishad, the two birds, both of these, there the lower bird has both these, Kshara and Akshara. So, but by dividing it into two, you get now a better understanding. The Upanishadic student is of a higher level student, doesn't need so many steps by step description. It is in the you get some product from American make, a computer, and it has so many instructions. First take this kind of blade and open by cutting this side. So because it is made for all that dummies, they do not. So open this side. That when you get the similar product from Europe, you will see minimum of instructions, almost none. That you have to, just apply yourself, look here, there, and then you will know those things. It is like that. You don't know that?
No, we know.
We got, some pieces of furniture. I remember many years back, and then it had been shipped. It was made and shipped from, I don't remember, some Scandinavian country, and then it came, and then no instructions as such, only some numbers, 3, 4, 5, so you have to understand which goes where, and it needed some expertise. Then something came from America much later, and all detailed instructions, because for the dummies we need detailed instructions. So this is for Bhagavad Gita is for dummies like us, So spiritual dummies, howsoever intelligent we may think ourselves are, we will easily agree that we are not at the level of Nachiketa. That fellow doesn't need such detailed descriptions. Bhagavad Gita is told to Arjuna, so more details have been described. He was after all a householder, embroiled in, had so many different desires, so many problems of attachment and so forth. So more details were necessary for Arjuna. So, and imagine how many more are necessary for us. So it is, therefore this further division is being given. Yo lokatrayam avishya vibharati avyaya ishvaraha. And then it is, the next verses are really more like that inspirational, that to know that Akshara Purusha, Yasmat Ksharam Atitoham, Aksharaadapi Chottamaha, Atosmi Loke Vedecha, Pratitha Purushottamaha. That is why I get called Purushottama, because I am superior to both Kshara and Akshara. Read the translation.
As I transcend the perishable and am above even the imperishable, therefore am I in the world and in the Vedas celebrated as Purushottama.
Uttama. There is nothing superior to that. You arrived at. So therefore, it is so said in the 19th verse, the one who knows me in this manner, yo mam evam asammudho janati purushottamam sa sarvavid bhajati mam sarvabhavena bharata. So, how to worship me? God says, how will you worship me? In the best possible way. The one who knows me as the substratum of everything, manifesting as each and every small and big aspect in the universe, seeing me as pervaded in every nook and corner of this universe. One who knows me like that really worships me in the best way. It is not that worshipping God doesn't mean that how big a temple you make, or how many items you give in the bhoga for Lord. That is not the best worship. And this knowledge, when you see God in this as involved, as the master of each and everything, then that is my best worship, and the worship of knowledge. So, and therefore he says this is the most important secret. Iti guhyatamam shastram idam uttam maya nagha etad buddhva buddhiman syat kritakrityascha bharata. Very beautiful verse. Yes, please read the translation.
Thus, O sinless one, has this most profound teaching been imparted by me. Knowing this, one attains the highest intelligence and will have accomplished all one's duties.
Yeah, that you want to do your duty, isn't it? You want to be dutiful. What? It is Kunal, you want to do your duty, is it not? Duty, we all think of the duties. Yes, I have duty to this, I have duty to that. What about your duty to God? That is forgotten, all other duties, okay. What about your duty to God, the controller, the governor of everything, the very existence of you? What about that? So when you know this secret, iti guhyatamam shastram, it is the deepest secret, guhyatamam. The ultimate secret is this. It is not hidden. It is secret because we don't look for it. That is why it becomes secret. It is not really speaking, it is hidden deep somewhere. It is secret only because we don't look for it. That's it. It is, therefore it is guhyatamam shastram. It is so secret that even if somebody brings it to us, we will refuse to look at it. That is, I don't believe in all these things. Okay, so it remains secret for you. It is, otherwise it is not secret, it is an open secret. As Swami Vivekananda's that beautiful lecture, open secret. The title of the lecture is Open Secret. That it is open, right here in front of our eyes to see, but we don't see. And then when you know this, etad buddhva buddhiman syat, this is the test of your being buddhiman, intelligent. That, oh Arjuna, know this and become intelligent. What do we want to become? Olina, you want to be intelligent or dumb? Dumb? Intelligent, is it not? What we do?
I want to be
Intelligent, right? You want to be intelligent, you see. So, and what will make you become intelligent? Etad buddhva. And knowing this will make you intelligent. And also you would have fulfilled all the duties in life. Otherwise you have not fulfilled any duty. It is, we go to fulfill all the secondary duties, but forget the main duty for which we have taken birth as human being, to realize God. That is the main duty. Do you see this, Prasanna?
Yes.
Main duty in life is?
Realize God.
Realize God, right. And then you have done all duties. If not, then doing other duties, keeping Rajgopal in good humor and all, that is not really, it doesn't get much accomplished by that. It is, so it is, the main duty is to have this done. Etad buddhva, become intelligent, see the truth, and then everything gets accomplished. Krita krityascha. It is difficult to translate this word into English. Krita kritya. Kritya means that which needs to be done, and krita means that is done. And kritya, this has to be done, that is called kritya. That needs to be done. Kritam means that has been accomplished. That which needed to be done has been accomplished. So how much relief you feel that it is when your boss assigns you some work, okay, do it, and then with difficulty this, that, after spending a few hours, done, then what do you feel?
Elation.
Relaxed. Elation, relaxed, okay, relax. Now I have done my job. So your life's job is done when you have this knowledge and this wisdom. So many thanks, friends. Many thanks, Sushmita, Kunal, Harichandan, and all the wonderful volunteers, workers and devotees of this Ramakrishna Vedanta Center in Pittsburgh. I enjoy discussing things with you all, and in a limited time we tried to discuss this, and please take this message with you. Let us determine to carry this message and put it in your day-to-day practice. Thank you very much. Geeta sugita kartavya kimanyat shastra vistaraihi ya swayam padmanabhasya mukha padmadvina shrita. Gopal Krishna Bhagavan ki Jai. Jai Shri Ramakrishna, Jai Ma Sarada, Jai Swami Vivekananda.